Hello, trader. We can see that gold currently is in a downtrend after multiple false breakout. We see the market has managed to break below. So we'll be looking to see currently what kind of trading opportunity we might find on the lower time frame as the market has started to break below in this instrument. So before we look at lower time frame entry opportunity potentially, let's look at first of all bigger picture, looking at the monthly chart to see overall direction in this market. So looking at monthly here, what we can see that as we discussed quite a few of analysis, the market has broken the previous monthly high and also respected the all-time high. In between this resistance, the price penetrated and currently has got a rejection from this high. And if we look at the low of this monthly candle, we can see that the price didn't test this lower shadow of this previous monthly candle. So there is an imbalance here in this instrument. So as the market has getting a rejection from the top, what we could see that gold potentially coming down here to fill that zone to grab the liquidity and potentially break below here to any of this zone. What I think that the price at least to potentially come back here to retest this support level and then bouncing back to the upside to create a new higher high. Now looking at the weekly chart here, we can see that from the weekly time frame, this is the weekly price action where the price has crossed this previous weekly high, and after cross of this high the market has got that rejection. Currently this is the weekly price section where a very important neckline of this weekly resistance, which is starting support here. What you can see in this area that there was a break of structure completely to the downside from the weekly uh, long bear candle, and the market has crossed that low, and from that zone there is a sharp break to the upside. And with that break, as we can see the price here, this is the resistance which is turning support here from the weekly. And what we could see the market to potentially break below here, what I think the price to at least to 3325 level, which is a very key resistance turn support. And also there is another important liquidity zone is just below this weekly low. As we have seen, there was a gap open which has not been tested, and as this current weekly candle, if it were bullish, then we could see early bouncing without any effort from the seller. As this market dropped that far, we might see that the rest of the drop could possible to grab this liquidity here, as there will be a huge bounce potentially from that level if it drop to that level, as there is a high liquidity. So from the weekly as well we can expect potential downside here. Now let's look at the daily chart to see what kind of trading opportunity we have on the daily time frame. And from the daily here, what we can see, this is the daily price action where the key resistance line and also key level of resistance, and also here the key level of resistance. Now what we can see here, this rejection from the daily has crossed that key level twice and formed that double top, and then it has got that sharp rejection with a narrow doji, another drop, narrow doji, another drop, expecting that this market potentially to come back to this support level here where there is a high liquidity. So from the daily we can see the price still below this 10 and 20 EMA, and there is still probability for further drop here, as we see that from the monthly and weekly the bias is towards the downside. Now looking at the 4 hour chart here, this instrument in this time frame is quite interesting. If you guys look at it, you can see that there was here, this is the 4 hour candlestick pattern where the market grabbed that liquidity and drop back below, and followed by whenever the price crossing this high here, multiple times it tried to break above and form long wick and getting that rejection. So when the market form this kind of price action, when it creates a lot of false breakout and reject, which is a sign that the smart money sold this market from this zone, and there is a probability for therefore further downside here. And this is the starting of this move here that you can see, which is also a very important key level of weekly resistance, which stands support here. As the market has dropped to that far here, there is a probability for this market to come back here again to this support level as last day of trading week. But I think that before the weekly close you might see a potential retest. So lower time frame bias here is still bearish. So if we look at the 15-minute time frame for a potential entry, here is we can see that a typical downtrending market structure and leaving a couple of key level of resistance along this area. And where you can see the market, this is a resistance here, and respecting creating series of lower high in that area. So what we can expect here in this market on XAUUSD for a possible liquidity grab, either break up this high or without breaking this high, potentially a liquidity grab, and then to return back again to potentially create a new lower low. So this is where any price action confirmation can give us potential selling opportunity in this instrument. Traders, I hope that you enjoyed this education and analysis. If you enjoyed, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. Thank you, and I'll see you soon in my next analysis.